Hey gorgeous people, welcome back to my channel. You've seen the title. Let's get into this video. First of all, I have not said thank you to my new subscribers. Thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Okay, and I hope that the content here is helping you to get to a place where you know yourself enough, know your weaknesses enough, working on yourself enough so that anyone you invite and welcome into your life is healthy and you are also healthy, and that you guys will have healthy and loving and kind relationships. Let's get into this video. What behaviors have you developed because you have stayed in difficult situations, difficult relationships for a long period of time? And I'm going to give you a clear example from my own personal experience. Before I get into that, I want you to think about this. This is not just relationship. This can be family. This can be colleagues, where we stay in a relationship, whatever form it shows up as: sister, brother, mother, father, auntie, uncle, colleague, business partner, carer, whatever, where we had to develop a certain behavior to survive. Okay, I'm gonna give you some examples. If you start holding in how you're feeling, for example, like how you feel, you don't like it, but you're gonna hold it in even though it tears you apart. But you're gonna hold it in because you've learned not to say how you're feeling, not to ask for your needs to be met. Because if you did, you will either get punished in some form of way, whether verbally, physically, psychologically, silently. Silent treatment can be a punishment. You are going to be punished. And so you've learned to be quiet even when you are in pain, right? And this is where you can see someone who you care about upset with you, but you do not know that they're upset with you verbally, but by their actions, by their behavior, you can read that, hey, something's off, but they're not telling me it's off, right? Or if you say to someone, you okay? They're gonna be like, I'm okay. But in their hearts, in themselves, they're not okay. I'll give you a personal example for myself. Now, we're looking at behaviors that we've learned or we've developed to protect ourselves, right? One for me is I am hyper vigilant. Like I cannot explain to you how hyper vigilant I am. For example, is someone close to me say, hey, someone told me this. All I heard was someone. Who's that someone? Why are you saying someone? Why are you not telling me their name? When did they tell you this? Why did they tell you this? What need? What form of, like, hyper vigilant? My mind is going from 10 to 100 when I hear someone. And that comes from relationships that I've been in where I think I've told this story enough, where I was a side chick for over 2 to 3 years, thinking I'm the main chick, only to find out that I've been the side chick all along. And one thing that they will use to get out of my presence is, I gotta go to work, or someone did this. I've never got a specific thing. So now if I hear someone, or if I hear I'm going to work, are you really going to work? Right? So I'm very hyper vigilant. I am aware of that. I am aware of why, and I try to maintain it or communicate it in a healthy way. But we've all have behavior. We've all developed behaviors that we've learned out of being in a situation where we're just trying to survive. This is why it's so important for us to, and I'm speaking on this because this is where I am right now, where we take time, like we really take time to get to know ourselves. I did this before when I was 24, but just think of the 24 mind. My 24 mind was a very young, immature mind, right? So it wasn't as productive as my now 34 mind, okay? And where I am now, I'm being very intentional about healing, about being aware of my triggers, my traumas, how they've affected me, how they show up in my relationships with my friends, my family, my kids, my partner, right? Being true to myself, okay? I am being I'm in a place where self comes first. I'm being very intentional about me. I'm being intentional about not being in you know, a serious and committed relationship. I'm being very intentional about paying attention to my behaviors and why I behave that way and what needs to change. And it is important when you have been in long-term relationships where there were adverse environments and situations where you've developed behaviors that are unhealthy. Though you develop them to survive, you are aware that they are unhealthy and that you need to be aware of that and work on becoming healthier. Not perfect, just healthier. Sometimes healthier is just knowing that you have some effed up behaviors that is not going to encourage a healthy, lasting relationship. And if that's what you're looking for, you gotta work on it. And yes, it stems out of being around people who were selfish, who put you in an adverse situation, who didn't see your bad as their bad. I'll give you an example. You might be in a relationship and you feel like your partner going out with another female is crossing your boundary, but your partner might feel like, hey, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going out with a colleague. It's nothing. I don't need to tell you this. It ain't an important thing. And when you step back, maybe truly they feel like that. They believe that, but that is crossing your boundary and that's causing you trauma, opening wounds for you. That's causing you pain. That's causing you harm, right? Mentally, psychologically, emotionally, but they cannot grasp that. They cannot understand that. And so the longer you stay with someone who does not understand why you have those boundaries in place or why you feel that is against you, and they keep doing it, who is it harming? When you stay in that place for long, who is it harming? It is not harming the doer. It's harming the receiver. And so a lot of us are staying in these things. It is causing us pain, harm, where our behaviors are changing. Like me, you might be hypervigilant, or like someone else, you might be passive aggressive. However it show up, we are not getting our needs met and we are not feeling safe in our relationships and in our environments. And therefore, we develop behaviors to keep us safe or to keep us soothed that is unhealthy for anyone. You have to understand that this is a generational curse. How whatever behavior you collect, you're going to teach this behavior to your children. Your children is going to teach it to their children. Just even being in those kind of relationships is showing behavior habits, right? You are teaching your kids what seems to be normal or what seems to be good, right? If you're in a situation where every time someone wrong you or every time this person wrong you, they play victim and somehow they are no longer looking at what they've done towards you that caused you to behave how you behave. You're reacting from their behavior towards you, from their action towards you, but somehow they become victim, or they keep stabbing you in the back, they keep lying to you, they're disloyal to you. You guys supposed to be on the same team, but you guys are not on the same team. You guys are on opposite team, but yeah, this is a relationship, this is a friendship. And you gotta understand how this can mess up anyone's mindset, anyone's behavior. You got to think of yourself. Like when I think of my 16-year-old self, when I think of my 18-year-old self, when I think of my 23-year-old self, my 24-year-old self, yes, I was just looking for love. I was pure, right? I was naive. I was just looking for love. And a lot of us, we're just looking for love. We're just looking for companionship. We're just looking for someone that F with us and we F with them. We're just looking for someone who got us and we got them. And instead of getting that, we get an adverse, a hard relationship, a hard situation to be in. And guess what? It changes us. It changes us. Some of us has trust issues. We don't trust anyone. Some of us, we see someone being kind, we think they too kind. What they want, right? What they want from me. Someone can't just be kind. We see someone happy, we think their happiness is fake because we don't understand how you so happy. Why are you so happy? Right? Because the things that we've been through changed us, changed our mindsets, changed our beliefs. It messed with us in all kind of way. To get to a place where you can say, being in this relationship changed me. Whew. It's a deep place to be. To get to a place where you can be like, this relationship changed me. I used to be bubbly, happy. I never used to care, worry. I was free. And now I overthink. Now I stay up at night and I dwell on a conversation. I dwell on a thing. I play it over and over and over. Now I'm struggling with insomnia. Now I have deep depression. Now I'm struggling with anxiety. Oh, I used to be able to talk to people and be free. And now I look at every word and every behavior and I question it. To be able to admit that you've changed, it's a deep thing, it's a big thing. But it's an important step. It's an important step to your healing. It's an important step to be aware. It's an important step for moving forward. It's an important step for seeking help and getting help. Every decision you make, whether you've separated from that person last year or 10 years ago or 5 years ago, 20 years ago, you were still making decisions based on this person. Making decision on who you speak to, why you speak to them, based on that relationship. You are sometimes even doing this automatically. Your behavior is automatic based on your past relationship or your present relationship. They have messed with you so much that no matter if you have left them and you have moved on, you think you've moved on, but when you look at your choices in life, you are basing your choices from this relationship with that person. And so if you do not identify this, somehow they're still in your life, even if they're not in your life. I remember there's a time I said, I won't date another black man. This was after the first relationship that I took serious. The father of my daughter, my first child. I vowed that I would never date another black man. I would never date another Jamaican. Bear in mind, I'm Jamaican. And I ended up with a white guy. I ended up with a mixed race, Indian and white. But they still had the personalities and the behaviors as the guy, the Jamaican guy. Which is when I then got very depressed and suicidal because I realized I'm the problem. The choices that I'm making is the problem. I am too lucky, happy-go-lucky. And yes, you're hypervigilant. Yes, you're passive-aggressive. Yes, you don't ask for help. You don't ask for your needs to be met. Yes, you're angry all the time. And it is understandable. But we will not let them win. We will not let the past win. We will not let that person win. Because we're going to identify the things that we need. Whether it's therapy, whether it is community, whether it's a healing course, whether it's a mentor, and we're going to get it. We're going to get it. By the way, if you want to do one-to-one, I do one-to-one sessions. Click the link, the description below, or email me, queeniegraceken@gmail.com. So some of us, we're aggressive, we're resentful, we're angry, we're bitter, we're sad, we're anxious, we're depressed because of what we've been through, or because of what we've been through, or because of what we're coming out of. And we got to understand that until we get the skills to move forward, somehow this past always have an effect on our choices in the present and in the future. We try to come out these things, or we do come out of it with them, but we end up doing it again or in it again. We've gotten used to bad patterns. We've gotten used to bad behaviors or unhealthy patterns and unhealthy behaviors, right? Why? Because we've created this out of keeping ourselves safe. We've created this out of survival, okay? And so we say we're not gonna be with this person anymore, but somehow we end up back with this person. We say we're not gonna do this anymore, but somehow we end up doing it. And this is sometimes also known as unhealthy coping methods, right? And we all can say we've done it. We've gone back to relationships that we shouldn't gone back to, or we've come out of a relationship, but we've gone back to bad behaviors, whether that's drinking, drugs, sex, going into bad situationships for our emotional needs to be met, or mental or psyche or sexual needs to be met for us to be validated, right? We go out partying, but we're not really addressing the deep-rooted situation that we need to address. And that is the bad behaviors, the bad patterns, the unhealthy behaviors, the unhealthy patterns, the behaviors that is not working for us. We revert back to it. We revert back to that person, that liquor, that environment, that thing that is not working for us. Thing is, we revert back to these things because they've become what we're used to, what we know, our comfort. It becomes comfort for us, right? Being disrespected is no longer disrespect because we know that. I know your disrespect. I know your discomfort. I know it. This is what I know, and I'm now comfortable in it, right? I know your lies, right? I know your hit. I know your punch. I know your deceit, and it's become comfortable. I know your disrespect. It is no longer disrespect. It's become comfortable. We find ourselves in situations again and again because that has become our norm. That has become our life. How can we become uncomfortable with what have become uncomfortable? Get the help that you need. Psycho-educate yourself. Learn more about yourself. Read the books. Listen to the Audible. Go and get therapy. Go and get it. I do one-on-one sessions. Okay? And put in the work. The more you put in the work, you can no longer sit with it. They put it this way. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Once you learn it, you cannot unlearn it. You cannot. I'm going to end this video here. Look out for part 2 as I continue this conversation. If you've not yet subscribed, subscribe.